Hi, in this episode, I'm going to show you how to add a redirect URL for customers when their payments fail. So just like you can make a redirect URL and paste it in to send people to a Weebly website page when their payment is completed successfully, which we do right up here with this thank you page, you can also make a custom page just in case their payment doesn't go through to give them a little bit more information. And let me show you how to do that. So click on Advanced Options, and we have this section here. Where on your Weebly website would you like your users to be redirected if their payment fails? Well, before we add that URL, let's show you what happens by default if you don't add a URL, just normally in payment failure. So I have a page right here on my Weebly developer test site with a button. So I have some codes, and these are fake credit card codes that you can test successful or unsuccessful charges. So you can do this on your own test button. And where did I get these numbers from? Well, if you click on your test Stripe button in the top right hand corner, you'll see a yellow button that says test mode. And if you click on that, it'll take you to a page on the stripe.com website with all sorts of fake credit card numbers that you can use in your test buttons. They won't work in your live buttons, but if you create a test button, you can test different credit cards like Visas and MasterCards. And you can also scroll down a little lower, and it says testing for specific responses and errors. And you can test for all sorts of different errors. Let me show you how this works. We are back on this page, so let me show you what happens if the card is declined. So if someone clicks on this form and enters their email, if you get to this page, just click this back button up here, and I'm just going to paste in that card number that I have on the bottom that ends in 02, which is the card is declined. And I'm just going to put some digits in here and then submit. And actually Stripe catches this and says the card is declined. So it doesn't ever submit, and the customer can see that and understand that really easily. A similar thing happens if you use an incorrect number. So if it's not a correct credit card number, like this number right here, Stripe also catches it, and it doesn't say a message, but it highlights it in red. So when do they get to the redirect URL? Well, there's another case where it's usually common that it's insufficient funds. So this number ending in 341, the credit card is valid, but the payment won't go through, so they won't be on a subscription and they won't get the invite email, and they would be really confused if they got redirected to a thank you page. So let me show you. We've updated the app to have a default payment failure page that I'll show you. So let's test this payment failure. So the customer is going to get created in your Stripe account, but then the subscription payment won't go through because of insufficient funds, and it will redirect to our payment failure page. So this is an example of the page, and it says your card was declined. We will pass in whatever Stripe tells us was the error, so your customer will be able to see it, and this is default with you doing nothing. The only challenge you might have with this is it's on our paid members app site URL and not on your website, so your customer may or may not be confused. This might be something you don't want. This is the default, and it's available to you if you like it. But if you don't like it, you can put in your own URL. So you probably have a thank you page, but you probably do not yet have a page that covers payment errors. So you should go ahead and just make a new page in Weebly. We've made one ourselves, and I called it payment error, but you can call it whatever you want, and you can put whatever message you want. I just put an example message of, we're sorry, but there was an error processing your payment. Please try again. Or you can say, please contact us for more information or anything. I'm going to publish this page or this site, and what I like to do is click on this blue link right here, because then you know you are at the most recent published page, and I'm going to go to that URL and just check that it's correct. So I highly recommend doing this, pasting in the actual URL you think it is, just to make sure there isn't an error. And as you probably know, Weebly puts a little dash in place of any spaces and adds a .html at the end, which you can or not cannot put in. Either one is fine, but it will be added if you hit enter and you don't add it in. So there's the page. So I know that it's a working page, and now that I know it's a working page, I can click on the URL bar and hit Control C or edit copy, and so I've copied it, and I'm just going to paste it in here where it says, where on your Weebly website would you like your users to be redirected if their payment fails? So I'm going to paste that in, and I'm going to hit continue and make this button code. Great, so I'm going to copy this button code, and I'm going to delete the button code that's in there and paste in this new button code. Cool, and hit publish. So now when I click on this link and go to the live site, so when I hit subscribe, I'm going to use this number again, which will show a payment failure. I'm going to hit subscribe. And so I just know which one it is. I'm going to put in info1 at example. .com, and I'm going to paste in that credit card number. Okay, and so let's make the payment and see what happens. So now instead of going to the default page, we'll be redirected to another page on my site /payment error, and there's that error message. So there you go. And just to show you what happens in Stripe when this happens, you can go into your Stripe dashboard. So click on dashboard, and I'm in my testing site. Cool, which is here, and I'm going to toggle over to view test data because that was a test button, creating a test account. So now if I go to subscriptions, I don't see an info1 at example.com on top. I don't see that email because the subscription wasn't created because the payment failed. But I will see a customer. The customer is created. So here, see on top, info1 at example.com. So I have a new customer with a unique customer ID in Stripe. And if I click on that customer, I can look at the bottom and see what happened. And at the very bottom, it says events. Info1 at example.com's payment for $39 failed. So now we've seen how you can create a custom redirect URL and paste it in. And if you don't want that and you just want the default option, again, you can just go in and just remove it, and you always get the default page, which will show the customer's error to them.